Welcome to Ready Set RC, and today we have the Team Associated Reflex 14MT. I was on the fence of calling this a rival versus a Reflex, but it is on the Reflex chassis, so I'll give it that. Here we are. We got the 14 scale monster truck on the channel. This thing looks pretty good, guys. The only thing that I will say, and I'll say this off the bat, for a monster truck, 14 scale seems a little small. It's the same dimensions as the buggy, and we all know monster trucks are supposed to be bigger than the buggy when we're talking about scales. So the scale seems a little bit off, but in this video we'll talk about what comes in a box. We'll do a quick overview of the RC itself, and then I'll show a comparison with this and the 14B. This monster truck comes in two flavors. The one you're seeing today does not come with the battery and the charger. There is a version of this truck that does come with the battery and charger included. The price is a little bit more. I'll put the links to both of those RCs in the description below. I purchased this directly from Amain. For this little monster truck, what you'll need to complete it, you're gonna need the 4 AA's for the controller, and you're gonna need the LiPo battery for this RC, plus the charger. For those of you that were questioning the dimensions of this, the overall length is 312 millimeters or 12.28 inches, and the overall width 237 millimeters or 9.33 inches. So what do you get? You get some additional parts for the car, some skid plates, some rod ends. You get a spur gear, the ring and pinion gear, various spare composite parts you get along with the RC. They give you a bind plug for the receiver. With the Amain one, we got the Amain stickers. And in here you get a T-wrench, you get a spare Velcro strap, looks like some servo horns, the manual for the RC, and a promotional manual, it looks like in there, the ESC manual along with it. And then lastly, we get a manual for the transmitter. Transmitter, we've seen this before. This is the XP120. Foam wheel, you got your steering trim, your throttle trim, your dual rates for your steering and your throttle, on-off switch right here, throttle, steering, 4 AA's down below. Very simple controller, 2.4 gigahertz, does the job, guys. This is what you came to see, the Reflex 14MT. And as I mentioned, it is a 14 scale monster truck. We have a screen printed body, feels decent, feels like any of the other Team Associated bodies out there, which means it'll hold up well. I'll show you guys underneath what it looks like. Comes in that new form that they've been doing a lot of their monster trucks as of late. So it has that kind of shape to it like the rivals, even though it is a Reflex. This does not come with a LiPo battery. I'm actually getting ready to run this thing, and I have a 2S LiPo already set there to run with. I have a 2S 35C Venom 2000 MAH pack that's in there, and that'll mate up perfectly with this RC. But let's go through it front to back, guys. We have a nice composite front bumper. We have composite oil-filled coil-over screw-down shocks. We have that in the front and also in the rear of the monster truck. And there seems to be no adjustments on the suspension arms for them, but the 2 adjustments on the shock tower in the front, and it looks like 3 adjustments on the shock tower in the rear. Metal links in the front and also in the rear. Camber and toe adjustments in the front. CDA type drive shafts in the front. Dog bones in the rear. Steering knuckles are composite as well. We have a composite shock tower, a composite steering plate, anodized aluminum Ackerman bar. The center drive shaft is sealed from the front to the rear, and the center drive shaft in this RC is also aluminum. And there is some minor bracing from the rear chassis to the rear shock tower. Nice adjustable wheelie bar going on in the rear. There's also some minor camber adjustments to be done in the rear of the RC. Suspension arms feel okay. They feel about normal for RC of this size. We have adjustable body mounts on this composite chassis, and the output gears on this are going to be composite. For the servo, we have a D115F. We've seen this in other 14 scale RCs from Team Associated. For the ESC, we have an SC300BL, have a 4500 kV brushless motor. I never like to say that an RC is waterproof. I like to say water resistant, especially when I'm looking at the receiver box and it is exposed. One of the key pieces to this car has 3 differentials. So you have a differential in the front, another differential in the rear of the truck, and then a third differential all the way in the rear. All differentials are sealed. As for the tires, these feel pretty good. They feel really good for a 14 scale monster truck. 12 millimeter hexes, and there seems to be a mild offset going on. And these shocks feel plush. Probably the best shock setup I have seen in the industry for a monster truck of this size. But what would I have liked to have seen different of it? For a 14 scale monster truck, I would have liked to see it a little bit bigger. I would have liked to have seen this probably more true to scale when it comes to 14 scale monster trucks. This comes in a little bit closer to what we would consider a 16 scale monster truck. Next up, I'm going to get the 14B out and let's do a side-by-side comparisons between the two RCs. 14MT, 14B. The wheelbases are spot on. Same wheelbase between the two. This looks like it is sitting up a little bit higher, and that's because of the tires that are running on this. But we can see the two RCs, and I'll take the shells off so you guys can get a better idea. And there we are, guys, with the shells off. I mean, clearly the front bumper, that's going to throw us all off, right? We can see the shock towers look fairly similar. We're only seeing the difference because this has body post on it. Metal links, the composite caster, battery tray placement, motor placement. ESC is mounted high on the 14B. I'll try to bring you guys in a little bit closer so you can see the difference of it, but that's definitely a difference to me. The rear shock tower looks fairly about the same, guys. The funny thing is that you'll see, or the 14MT, and I'm hoping that my camera's pulling up, you got the mount for the rear of the buggy body right there. I don't know if it's gonna fit because we got this mounting here, but yeah, exactly where that hole would match, there's the mount. Hopefully the camera pulls it up. Yeah, there's the mount, guys. That's hilarious. They didn't even take that off. I guess they would need to have something to seal the transmission, so they felt like just keeping that there. I thought that was a little funny. Weight-wise, they feel about the same. The MT is going to feel a little bit heavier, one, because I have the battery already installed, and hopefully you guys can see from the inners. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but they're the same. So you guys can see that the width of the two RCs is the same. It's just that, as I mentioned before, these wheels have a little bit of an offset, which is going to push these out a little bit on the monster truck. As for the chassis, they're both composite, but you'll see, one, this chassis feels like it's made out of, the buggy chassis feels like it's made out of a different plastic, but it's also contoured a little bit different as it gets to the rear of the RC, where the monster truck's chassis is definitely a different shape. And that's what they look like underneath. You guys can see completely different chassis. And this one feels like it's made from a different composite. And I've never had any issues with this chassis. There is a mild kick up in the front, along with the Monster Truck 2 has the mild kick up in the front as well. There seems to be a little bit more of a protruding for that center diff that's there, where there's nothing there on the buggy. Yeah, so it's interesting. And the other piece of this, let me know if you guys see this. What's to come? To me, that looks like a perfect placing for a Nerf bar. This chassis, who knows? Let's see what else they come out with for this chassis, but that looks suspicious with these mountings right there, because that to me screams Nerf bars. And we only know one other thing that has Nerf bars on them. So let's see what else comes with it. There are some mounts for some sway bars. There's a lot of hop-up parts already available for the 14B that I'm pretty sure are going to be able to be transferred right over to the MT. Plus, when you go on Team Associated's site, there are a ton of hop-up parts for the 14MT. This comes in at probably the more higher price point for, you know, monster trucks of this size. I don't know how much more you want to put into this, but there are hopper parts to even make this even more special. For the electronics, we're looking about the same for the two. If I show this against my 16 scale monster truck, you guys can see the wheelbases are about the same, which is concerning for me. We'll get this out of the way, because a 14 scale monster truck should definitely be larger than a 16 scale monster truck. Well, that's one of the things I'd like to see out of the box for this. In regards to these Reflex models, I like them, guys. This is my third Reflex model from Team Associated. As I mentioned, I have the 14B, the MT, and I have the 14R, but it's cool that they gave you lights on this. They gave you some very nice tires. I gotta say, these are really good tires. We'll have to see how it performs. But for me, out of the box, that's probably my only gripe that I have for it. I wish it was a little bit bigger for a 14 scale monster truck. So what's up next for it? As you guys see, I already got a pack in there. It's baseball season here in New York, and also on top of it, it's been raining, so the baseball fields are a little muddy. These RCs, I find, tend to do better when the baseball fields are very dried out and it's dusty and loose. These size RCs tend to hook up very well, so that's what I'm looking for, is to wait till the fields get a little bit more dried out and they're not in use. But look forward to the 2S run on this and showing you guys how it performs. But we're going to leave it here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram for our latest post to the channel. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.